It's 2 a.m. You're staring at the ceiling. Your phone is face down beside you because you promised yourself you wouldn't check it again. Your mind is racing through tomorrow's meeting, a text you never sent, a memory from 10 years ago that has no business showing up right now. You assume this is a modern problem, a side effect of screens and stress and blue light. But the real answer is far stranger. Your ancestors lay awake too. Not occasionally, regularly. And for most of human history, that wasn't a malfunction. It was the plan. Picture a fire. Not a campfire from a movie, but a real one. Small and orange, crackling at the center of a group of maybe 20 people. It's the only light for miles. Beyond it, there's nothing but black. No streetlights, no moon some nights. Just darkness that goes on until it reaches something that might be hungry. Anthropologist Carol Worthman spent years studying sleep patterns in modern hunter-gatherer societies, groups whose lives still resemble, in rough outline, the way humans lived for tens of thousands of years. What she found broke almost every assumption modern people have about sleep. These groups didn't sleep in one long, uninterrupted block. They woke up, often, in the middle of the night, and it wasn't treated as a problem. It was treated as normal, even useful. Why would waking up at 2 a.m. be useful? Because someone has to watch the dark. For most of human history, sleeping through the entire night in one unbroken stretch would have been a liability, not a luxury. A group that all slept soundly at the same time was a group with no one listening for the sound of a branch snapping in a place branches shouldn't snap. Staggered wakefulness meant there was almost always someone semi-alert, someone whose brain was scanning the tree line instead of dreaming. Sleep researcher Roger Ekirch uncovered something else buried in old diaries, court records, and medical texts from pre-industrial Europe. Before artificial light took over the night, people across many cultures didn't sleep in one block even in relative safety. They had what Ekirch called first sleep and second sleep. You'd go to bed a few hours after sunset, sleep for 3 or 4 hours, then wake up. Not in a panic, not checking a phone. Just awake. For an hour, sometimes 2. People use this time to pray, to talk quietly with a partner, to think, to have sex, to simply lie in the dark with their thoughts. Then they'd drift back into a second sleep until morning. That gap in the middle of the night had a name. It wasn't called insomnia, it was called watching. So when you wake up at 2 a.m. with your mind suddenly uncomfortably alert, you are not broken. You are running a very old program. Your brain doesn't know that the modern world replaced the dark forest with a locked door and a phone on silent. As far as your ancient wiring is concerned, the watch shift has begun, and someone needs to be paying attention. This is where the story gets stranger. Because it's not just that ancient humans woke up at night. It's what their brains were doing while they were awake. Neuroscientist Matthew Walker, who has spent decades studying sleep, points out that the human brain doesn't fully shut off at any point during the night. Different systems take turns being active. And the period of light in between wakefulness, the kind your ancestors would have experienced during their watching hour, appears to be prime territory for a particular kind of thinking. Not sharp, task-focused thinking. The other kind. Loose. Associative. The kind where a stray thought about your job somehow connects to a memory of your childhood dog, and suddenly you're crying at 3 a.m. for no clear reason. That's not a glitch either. That's your brain doing something it may have done for a very long time, using the quiet, low-stakes hours of partial wakefulness to sort through the day. To file memories. To notice patterns your daytime, task-focused brain was too busy to see. Here's the twist most people never expect. The anxious spiral you feel at night, the one that convinces you every relationship you have is secretly falling apart, might not be a bug in your thinking. It might be a feature that used to serve a purpose and now fires in a world it wasn't built for. Consider what nighttime vigilance was actually for. It wasn't just about predators, it was about your place in the group. In a small band of 20 or 30 people, your survival depended entirely on the people around you. If you were excluded from the group, if trust broke down, if you were pushed to the margins, you didn't just feel bad, you died. There was no solo survival option, no backup plan. just the group, or nothing. So the brain evolved to be exquisitely sensitive to social threat, and nighttime, with its lack of distraction, became the natural stage for that sensitivity to run its checks. Did I say something wrong today? Is everyone still okay with me? Am I still safe here? Psychologist Robin Dunbar, known for his research into the size and structure of human social groups, has argued that human social cognition is unusually large and unusually demanding compared to other primates, precisely because group survival required constant social monitoring. Your brain isn't just designed to watch the tree line, it's designed to watch your standing within the group that watches the tree line with you. That's the 2 a.m. spiral, not a modern disorder invented by anxiety culture. An ancient monitoring system, running its full diagnostic scan, except now the group it's checking on might be a group chat. A boss's tone in an email, a friend who didn't reply as fast as usual. The system hasn't changed, only the size and shape of the group has. There's a modern mirror to all of this, and it's not subtle once you see it. Every time you wake at night and reach for your phone, you are, in a strange way, doing exactly what your ancestors did. You are checking on the group. You are scanning for threat. You are trying to confirm that everyone is still okay and that your place among them is still secure. The scenery changed completely. The fire became a phone screen. The tree line became a notifications tab. But the underlying urge, the reason you're awake and alert instead of peacefully asleep, is the same urge that kept a small band of humans alive around a fire tens of thousands of years ago. Even the anxious thought loop has a rhythm you'd recognize from ancient life if you knew where to look. Short bursts of worry, a moment of quiet, then another burst. That's not so different from a night watch, glancing at the dark, resting, glancing again. So, what do you do with this, lying awake at 2 a.m. mind spinning? You could try to force yourself back to sleep, the way modern advice usually tells you to. Or you could recognize the older pattern underneath the discomfort. This isn't failure. It isn't proof that something is wrong with you. It's an ancient watch shift, showing up in a world that no longer needs a lookout, using a brain that never got the memo. Some sleep researchers now suggest that fighting the wakefulness itself may be part of what makes it feel so much worse. If you're lying there furious at your own brain for being awake, you're adding a modern layer of stress on top of an old, familiar biological rhythm. Understanding the rhythm doesn't make it disappear, but it can make it a little less frightening, a little less like malfunction, and a little more like inheritance. Because that's really what this is. An inheritance. A body that still remembers the fire, the dark tree line, the group that needed watching. A brain that hasn't been told the danger passed thousands of years ago and keeps assigning you the same shift anyway. So tonight, when you wake up at 2 a.m. and your mind starts running through everyone you've ever disappointed, try holding a different thought instead. You are not malfunctioning. You are not the only one this has ever happened to. You are, in a very real sense, keeping watch. The fire just looks different now. It's smaller and colder and fits in your hand, but some very old part of you still thinks it's your turn to make sure everyone is safe. Your ancestors would recognize this feeling instantly. They just didn't have a phone to check while they felt it.